Hey Fed, Surgeon here with another Cigar Federation video review. Today we're going to be talking about the Southern Draw QuickDraw. Now, last couple weeks ago we talked about the QuickDraw Connecticut. This time we're talking about the QuickDraw Pennsylvania Broadleaf. Now, you know I like a good broadleaf cigar. Kind of excited for this. They mentioned that this has been double fermented, and these Cuban seed, Nicaraguan binder and filler. The nice thing about this is they've also got recommended pairings. So they recommend for beer, Irish ale, porter, double IPA, and seasonal ales. For wines, Cabernet, Petite, Syrah, port, and late harvest. And then for spirits, aged rum, scotch, bourbon, whiskey, cinnamon and anise flavored premium liqueurs. So there's a wide range of recommended pairings here, and I think a lot of them will definitely hold up, especially for a Pennsylvania broadleaf. It's got a lot of body to it. You can find out more about that at Southern Draw Cigars. So we'll start talking about the nose here and get cracking. So right away you get that sort of rich, syrupy Maduro wrapper there. Hard to describe. If you've ever been into a Polone, if you ever smelled a Polone before, that fermented tobacco smell is unmistakable. It kind of reminds me of molasses a little bit. Very good. A little bit of leather underneath that. That's about it. So it's got a closed foot, almost a shaggy foot on it. So we'll see what we can pick up in the foot here. Maybe a little bit of hay, a little bit of dry wood, and that's about it. Excited to smoke it. It's a good smoking size. I can't remember how much time I got out of the Connecticut, but I think it was about an hour and 15 minutes. I may end up being less today because I might go through this a little bit faster. We'll see, but I want to get cracking here. So I'll start out with my typical technique of torching it and then cutting it. So I'm not going to cut it first. It's not going to take very long to ignite because it is such a small ring gauge. So you got to be careful here not to scorch the wrapper. Just rotate the lighter around. So really the trick is to keep the flame back from the wrapper. Bit of a windy day today. Using my Cigar V-cut. As you can see, it's got that little twist cap to it, little nipple cap to it. We're going to cut that off. And a lot of times you can actually use that to pull the cap right off, but I don't want to take any chances here because I've got my review sample. Great draw right off the start. Rich, sweet. It's a little bit of leather there. Chewy flavors. That sweetness again reminds me of molasses. Rich spices off the retrohale. Fantastic start. So we'll get. We'll let it settle in here and we'll check back in and see what the flavors come to the surface. So talking about the first third here, the cigar has this rich boldness to the flavor. What do I mean by that? Well, you're getting a lot of that molasses, but it's not just straight up sweetness. In fact, it's not really what I would describe as overpowering sweetness. When I think about molasses, I think about flavor complexity, layers of sweetness, not just overpowering sweetness. Underneath that, there's this pepper that adds a little bit of bite to it. Pepper carries into the post-draw, kind of lingers, kind of sits there, a little bit like spicy food. It kind of, sits there for a bit. And then as it sits there for a bit, I get leather, very light leather, but it's there. It's just adding to that nuance post-draw. And this is, only the first couple, maybe half inch of the cigar. So really looking forward to where this cigar takes me. About 10 minutes in here, and I think the way I would describe the flavor profile is chewy. So I take a draw, and like I said, it's got that sweetness, but it's got layers to it. It's got spices, it's got pepper, and I just kind of chew on it, and it goes into the post draw, and I get that pepper and spice there, and then I get leather that comes through. I mean, it's a meal in a cigar, and I can tell that there's a lot of body here. I can already feel it, and we're only maybe an inch into the first third here. It's going to be a little powerhouse, I can tell, but very enjoyable. I think this is going to appeal to the people who like their cigars in the more full category. This cigar is going to live up to that, I think. At the halfway point of the first third, and there's a vegetal note coming through here. It's subtle, and I kind of really just pick it up because the sort of molasses and pepper and spices is so dominant on the flavor profile. I really kind of pick it up at the end of the draw. So I exhale, all those flavors come to the surface, and then right at the end of that, just the very last bit of that, I get that vegetal note. It's interesting. Enjoying it. I'm curious to see where the rest of the flavor profile goes here. Passing the 20-minute mark. This cigar is going pretty fast. Obviously, being a short panatella, very tasty, but goes very quick. The spices that I initially picked up on were very strong, very dominant, that pepper and spices, but they're fading as the first third winds down. And I would have expected the leather to pick up post-draw, but the leather's staying at the same strength level. So it just kind of starts out with that chewy molasses flavor, little bit of spices and pepper now, and then post-draw, the pepper's still there, still lingering, but the strength level of it has dropped a significant margin. So it probably was at about a medium level, and it's fallen really to a light plus level. Enjoying this cigar. Getting into the middle third here, I'm sitting at about 25-minute mark. The flavor profile has changed quite a bit, actually. So where I was getting that chewy sweetness followed by pepper and spices, now I'm getting chewy sweetness, and then the sweetness actually spikes at the end of the draw. So that pepper and spices have continued to recede, still detectable in the post-draw, but I'm really getting sort of two combating sweetnesses. I'm getting that chewy sweetness, and then I'm getting more of a rich honeyed sweetness at the end of the draw that just kind of spikes for a couple seconds and then goes away. Kind of leaves you with a little bit of coating mouthfeel. That's about it. So we'll see what else develops here in the middle third. Passing the 40-minute mark, there's some additional flavors here as the middle third winds down. There's like a barbecue smokiness that's coming through. Again, just adding to the complexity. No other changes in the primary flavors. That pepper's still there in the post-draw, still getting that chewy molasses. That barbecue smoke is just kind of mixing in. Very enjoyable. Obviously, this is a very medium, full, almost full-bodied cigar. So I would probably pair this bad boy with bourbon, rum. I'm a spirit pairing kind of guy. I could see a strong ale going really, really well here. And we'll see what other flavors come up in the last third. Past the 50-minute mark, into the final third here, solidly. Nothing immediately stands out for flavor profile changes. Still have that chewy sweetness, followed by a big spike of sweetness at the end of the draw. There's that barbecue. Still got a little bit of spice in the post-draw. I guess the pepper has really kind of dropped off in the post-draw, where it was really lingering in the first third and in the middle third. It's very much absent here in the last third. A lot of strength here. Feeling the strength very much in the last third. I've got probably another 15-20 minutes of cigar to go here, so I'll report on any other profile changes as they come up. Passing the 1 hour mark, and there's a little bit of a sour component as the last third really settles in here. It's not overpowering, and it's not unpleasant. It's just another flavor here in the last third to add to the sort of combination of everything that's going on. I'm not sure if there's going to be any other profile changes, but I've still got probably another 10-15 minutes of cigar left, so if there is any other profile changes, I'll certainly remark on them. Wrapping up the review of the QuickDraw Pennsylvania Broadleaf by Southern Draw Cigars. Really enjoyed this cigar. It's definitely a much more full-bodied experience than the Connecticut, which is a very different experience, obviously, when you get that Pennsylvania Broadleaf. It's a much more in-your-face cigar. Very enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I'll be seeking these out. It's a great smoke time. Nice little short panatella. Love that vitola. Make sure to check out the written review at cigarfederation.com. If you've enjoyed the review, we appreciate it if you toss us an upvote or up thumbs, up arrow, whatever that up function is. You can throw a comment on our video on YouTube. We'd appreciate that. And if you have any questions for the show or any suggestions, you can email me, surgeon@cigarfederation.com. We'll be back next week with another Cigar Federation video review.